It's a Jamaican love affair. Eat your food.
So guys, this is my new ring light. I got my new ring light to give me good lighting for when I'm talking to you. So I am trying it out to see what it gives. I had some challenges with it because the light is kind of showing in my lenses, and I'm trying for that not to happen. And that's a challenge because I'm still seeing the ring in the lenses, and so I'm trying to see how I can get rid of it. It's not working at all. I don't know if I use a different shade if it will happen, but this is a basically trial and error affair, so I can determine whether or not a particular shade is good for me. There I go with the light in my lenses. Problem is, I can't see without my glasses. You know, so I have to wear them, but it's not flattering to have the light reflecting in my lenses, like, you know, like an alien, like something out in space there. So this is a trial. I went to the hospital yesterday to get my my usual checkup, and it turned out that everything seems to be going okay. The doctor checked the wound and he says that it's okay. I do not need a CT scan, and he says that if I find anything happening in the bed of the wound, I'm not to hesitate to return to the hospital. So now I've been given 6 months to return, and I think that's great. I was elated because it means that I'm making progress, and I mean, I'm so grateful. God is so good to me that there isn't anything there, and also I don't need to do a CT scan because, people, let me tell you something. In order to do the CT scan, I had to drink a whole liter of water, and that water had something in there. It's a dye that allows them to see what is going on in my system. Although it looks just like water, but let me tell you something. Let me see if I can tell you how bitter it is. It's bitter like aloe. I don't know how many of you know aloe. Aloe vera. Something they call single Bible. It's very slimy. Yes. That plus a thing they used to sell when I was a child called Dr. King sulfur bitters. Listen to me. That is how bitter the thing is combined. My friend went with me, and happily she had some sweets in her bag. So each time I drank a cup, she would just give me the sweet and I would just push it in my mouth. Because I think they would have had to give me another liter if I never had the sweets to suck on. Because the thing was so bitter and it made me so nauseated, I could barely manage. One of the times, what bothered me was that the doctor told me that when I'm lying in the chamber of the thing, I'm to be as still as possible. And I was lying in a position where my hands were behind my head, but they were just suspended, and my arms were kind of aching because they were there for quite a while. And I'm not to shake, I am not to do anything, and I'm like, oh my goodness, because if I shake or anything, the reading on the machine is not going to be correct, and it is very likely that I would have to do it again. When I had gone, first they made me take off my clothing and they put me in a little what is that thing now? Like a house dress, something like that. It's open at the back. And the machine just wouldn't work. I had to put back on my clothes. And then after that, they said I should come. And when I went, the person that is supposed to read the thing wasn't there. So I had to go back again, put back on my clothes. And that happened about 3 times. 3 different times I wasn't able. So I said to myself, you know something? I started to feel happy. I said to myself, it means that I don't have to do it. But when I recalled that liter of bitter stuff that I would have to drink again, I just said a prayer. And happily, it it turned out that I did the procedure. And while I was in the chamber there, and the gentleman came and said something, he said I brought my hands up too quickly, and they're going to have to look at the image to see whether, it came out okay, or if I shook. And I was just praying, and happily, I never had to do it over. So that was really nice for me, because I tell you, that thing was so bitter. But it went through, and I was able to do it, and they said okay. So when the time was ready for me to get the results, I think I went to get the results. They couldn't find it, and because they couldn't find it, I couldn't do the surgery at the time that I was supposed to have done it. And then other things were going on, and so I think the time when I did the surgery was just the right time for me to do it. That is when God wanted me to do it, because I think I got the best teams. I had 3 teams of doctors: the plastic surgeons, the ENT specialists, and the anesthesiologists. And they made me feel comfortable. They put me at ease and stuff like that. There was this wonderful doctor. She said to me, "Don't be afraid, man. Don't be afraid, because I had to do surgery, and I was nervous, but da 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 da." And she said, "We're going to take the best care of you." And she told me about the other doctor that was with her, and she said that other doctor had surgery too, and she was nervous and everything, but everything was going to go well. And it did. God be praised, because when I woke up, I'm still trying to remember if I woke up by myself or I heard something, whatever it is. But just as I opened my eyes, a nurse said to me, "Mrs. Johnson," and I said, "Yes." And she said, "Good night." I said, "Good night." And she said, "Yes." I said, "What time is it?" And she said, 8 o'clock. I said, 8 o'clock at night? And she said, yes. I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. And then they told me that I had spent 8 hours between surgery and recovery. And I said, thank you, God. I'm back on the side of the living. I was very grateful for that. And then they took me to my bed. And I think I just went to sleep because I was really very groggy. Yeah. But I think I slept well, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, in the morning, my primary surgeon came to see how I was doing. He was checking up on me, and he asked me if I could hold up my hands, and I did. And he asked me if I could shrug my shoulder, and I could. And he was delighted, because they had said that the trapezius muscle, that they had removed a big piece of it around there, it would affect the way I could move my shoulders, the kind of thing. My shoulders might not be aligned the way they were before, and all of that. And maybe you can see a scar coming from back there, right underneath my throat, where they cut my neck to remove some lymph nodes, to check on those to see whether the cancer had spread. But thank God it hadn't. And they did 2 tests on the lymph nodes to ensure that everything was clean. And goodness, you don't understand. Only somebody who has gone through something like that already would understand how it feels to hear that everything is clean and you're doing well. So God has been good to me, and here I am this afternoon to say that I'm cancer free as far as I know. I believe God has healed me, and I am very grateful. It's just that I think I need to do a little more in terms of how I take care of myself, my diet, because I have a sweet tooth and I tend to like sweet things, but I'm doing my best. I'm trying to eat fruits, natural sugars instead of artificial sugars, and I like bread and rice. I can eat bread for breakfast, bread mid-morning, bread at lunchtime, bread mid-afternoon, bread at dinner time, and for supper, I can have bread. That is how much I love bread. So I really don't buy bread because I don't want to eat it. And also, it tends to bloat me. So I've tried my best to come off of bread. Rice also I like, but I'm not to have rice. So I'm leaving the rice alone, the bread, and trying to leave the sweet stuff alone so that I can remain as healthy as possible and do my exercises, drink my water. I used to drink a lot of water, but I'm having some challenges now in terms of drinking water because I read someplace and I've been told that when you get to be my age, it's like your body does not let you know that you need water. So you have to be intentional about having your water. So I'm trying to do that in order to ensure that I have my water because you know that that is very important. It flushes out the toxins, it helps your complexion, it keeps you hydrated and that kind of thing. And people, we really need to drink our water because when you don't, it can, your body can, your blood rather, can become thick and you can develop clots, that kind of thing. And so you want to drink your water. So I've been trying, and with the help of some of my friends who will remind me from time to time when I forget that I'm not supposed to be having this and I'm not supposed to be having that. And Julia, are you supposed to be having that? No, but well, don't have it. So I am trying to stay on the straight and narrow. So I have my vegetables. I am doing a lot of stir fries. I'll have like broccoli, cauliflower, stringed beans, peppers, pak choy. I have some water chestnuts and sometimes bamboo shoots, whatever, and do a real nice stir fry and have that. And sometimes I'll do like for breakfast, I'll shred some cabbage and eggs for breakfast. I'll have a cup of hot beverage, wild berry, blueberry, the berries, chamomile, that kind of thing. Really nice flavored teas. And sometimes I'll have it without a sweetener, and sometimes I'll add a little honey, you know, to just temper it a little bit. But for the most part, that's what I'm doing. And I have a lot of coconut water. And I noticed that lately I do not like the coconut flesh like I used to. I prefer if it's very hard. The firmer it is, the better for me. I don't like it soft anymore. So I realize as I age, my eating habits change. You know, things I used to like, I do not necessarily like them anymore. The things that I never used to like, I'm having them. So that is what happens. So I'm just telling you some of the things that are happening with me, you know, and sharing with you so that maybe you're going through a similar situation and you're not sure what you're eating, how to eat, that kind of thing. Just, and don't be too hard on yourself. You know, if you slip up sometimes and you have something that you're not supposed to have, it's not the end of the world. You fell off the wagon, get up, brush yourself off, and start again. Because sometimes when I'm beside myself and I have something, my daughter would say to me, Mommy, don't worry about it. Tomorrow's another day and you can do it. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm encouraging you. If you're on a journey and you know you have challenges, you're not perfect. We're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. And sometimes you just give in. You just want to have something different and you do it. It's not a problem. So just tell yourself you had something and you're moving on. So that is it for tonight. I was really just testing my light to see how it would operate, but I ended up talking about all sorts of other things that is happening with me. So I will see whether I am going to be sharing this with you or whether it's just going to be one of those that I'll put in my archive. But however it comes out, thanks for listening to me. So if you see this one, subscribe, share, comment if you want, and hit the notification bell as I have lots more to say. Have a good one, guys, and thank you so much for just listening with me. Thank you. Bye.